Jonathan,
Hey,
let's talk about tech history.
cool. Yeah, this week we're talking about December 27th through the 31st, the last week.
This is
And
it.
first off, we have Jeffrey Bezos named Person of the Year
Jeff
by
Bezos.
Time.
Wow. So he was back in 1999, huh?
Wow. When he still had hair.
When he still had hair. Yeah, his face even looks a little bit more plump. So Amazon.com started off as a book company, as a book sales company. All they did was sell books. And then they got into other things. Little by little, they started selling other products. They would allow people to sell products. And then eventually they realized that internally they were selling each other services. So for example, the IT department would need to track the cost of other departments' usage of disk storage, of websites, of any type of services, or maybe DNS entries, or whatever the case was. They realized, well, if we're billing our departments, we have all this software set up. Why don't we sell this to the public and bill them just like we bill our departments? And so Amazon.com became Amazon Web Services, where you can go and we remember we created a website on AWS. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, they sell these services and internally and to the public. So they're selling everything. It's kind of cool.
Sell everything. Next up, we have the first public projected movie screen.
Cinematography, Lumiere. The world's first projected movie screening takes place at the Salon Indien at the Grand Cafe in Paris, France. The makeshift theater uses a cinematography created by Lumiere brothers, one of the earliest motion pictures in history. A total of a whopping 33 people attended. Wow, that's pretty crazy. So this was like the first movie show? Is that the first theater? Is that what they're saying?
Yeah. Projected movie. They didn't have TVs or anything.
1895, huh?
Cool. Next up, we have first UHF TV station.
What does UHF stand for?
Ultra high frequency television station.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is these are your typical air channels, right?
Oh yeah. RCA, NBC.
Yeah. Yeah. This is let me see. Growing up in the Los Angeles area, we had channel 2, channel 4, channel 5, channel 7, channel 9, channel 11, and channel 13. And then if you went beyond that, you had channel 18, channel 32, which was a Spanish station, channel 52, which was another Spanish station. And that's about all I remember, a whole whopping 10 channels. Talk about being spoiled these days, huh? I mean, there's just so much that
like thousands of channels now.
you can't be bored. It's like there's just no way you can be bored. You can go and watch YouTube. You can go and watch the videos on Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. I mean, there's just all these sources. It's crazy. Back then, we had a total of 10 channels.
Cool. Next up, we have. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Looks like you froze there for a second. You want to re-announce that one?
AT&T takes over the Bell system.
What year was this? This is 1899. You know what's interesting is that AT&T didn't really come into the forefront of public, how do you say it? Like say, for example, let's say, for example, Ford, take the company Ford, right? A lot of people don't know, but Ford creates the Mazda car. You know, they're in charge of Mazda. But if you didn't know that Ford produced a Mazda, like you would have never known that Ford existed. You would consider it like, hey, the Mazda exists, but you don't realize that Ford is the parent company. And it's not until they came up with their F-150, their Ford Focus, their Ford Bronco, the Ford Expedition, that you realize, oh wow, Ford is a big company, and they are now making their presence known. You know what I mean? So AT&T, when they took over Bell, growing up, we used to go to the Bell telephone office to go and ask to connect service. And then they would send us over to this lobby, and it's like, what kind of phone do you want? And you would get the run-of-the-mill rotor dial phone, you know, the one. And then they would send someone to run wires if there weren't any wires there. Otherwise, they would just connect it at the central office, and we would just plug our, phone into the wall. If you wanted some fancy phone, then you had to pay for it. But if you just wanted the regular run-of-the-mill phone, it would be for free, basically. So even though AT&T had taken over Bell system in 1889, in 1976, which is about as far back as I remember, I don't remember AT&T being on the forefront of a known company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, it was Bell. The Bell, Bell company was the telephone company.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so the fact that AT&T just bought all these companies, I mean, because they own a lot of companies. So makes it interesting.
Wow. Next up, we have Microsoft releases Windows 3.11.
It's actually 3.11.
Oh.
Yeah, 3.11. What's interesting about was that you have, it might be Windows 3.11, but everybody referred to it as Windows 3.11, which leads me to believe that it probably should have been 3.1.1.
Yeah, that's why I didn't say 1.1, because it was like, it should have a 1 if it was 1.1.
Yeah. And I don't think we had version down packed just yet. I think it was just like, it wasn't that there was 10 other versions released before that. It was just a fact that just like, well, it's a minor upgrade, so just call it 3.11. And whoever decided is like, okay, we'll just add a 1 to it. They didn't bother to put the period. And by the time it made it out the door, I'm suspecting, I don't know if this is the actual story. I'm suspecting they just, leave it. If it works, don't fix it. But yeah, they released Windows 3.11 because 3.1 wasn't internet or network capable. It wasn't aware that it can connect to any type of network. So they needed the driver updates to the kernel of the operating system to be able to recognize network connectivity. And so they were able to do it that way by operating system update.
1993, the
We
year
should,
I was born.
Windows 3.1 is freely available now. We should probably set up an old machine with Windows 3.1
That'd be funny.
and see what we can do with it.
Cool. Next up, we have Y2K looms. Uh-oh.
Do you remember this?
I remember it was like a big deal. I didn't know why.
Were you scared?
uh, I don't know. I thought like aliens were gonna come or something. I don't know.
Aliens.
Hopefully some aliens. Like it was kind of like the Mayan calendar. Like you kind of just have to see what happens.
Just wait to see
Like
what
the Mayan
happens.
calendar.
That's pretty good. Yeah, the problem didn't exist January 1st, year 2000. The problem existed February 29, the year 2000. And here's the reason why. Most programmers would program because prior to the year 2000, you like if you tell, like let's just say I ask you, hey, what's Mickey Mouse's birthday? How would you answer that? Give me some random date.
The day Disneyland, or I don't know, the day the motion picture of Mickey Mouse came out.
No, but give me an actual date.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be correct, just any date.
November 20th, 2000, or I don't know, 79.
You mean 1979? Okay, that's so for anyone who wasn't born in the 90s, the way we would have said that is November 27th, 79.
Mm-hmm.
So we only included the 2-year digit,
yeah.
The last two exactly, because it's like if you had to specify the year 2000, nobody ever thought that far ahead. So we would have just said, yeah, 79, And so what happens is that computer programmers did the exact same thing. They wrote programs that only accepted a 2-year digit. And it was assumed that it was 1970, whatever, 1990, whatever, So when things started coming with 01 and 02, the computers, the programs were like, 1901 and 1902, which in reality, they meant 2001, 2002. Mm-hmm. That's still not a problem. The problem wasn't the fact that you had a 2-digit year and there was some ambiguity, because you could figure it out. Some knowledge, common knowledge would tell you, he's 3 years old and he's 2 years old and he was born in 02. So that would mean he was born in 2000, mm-hmm. or whatever, you get what I say. Mm-hmm. The issue was that February 29, 1900 was not a leap year, where February 29, 2000 was a leap year. So what happened was that if your computer thought you were talking about February 29, it was going to assume that it was 1900, because in 2000, that leap year didn't exist. But let's verify that. Let's go over to a leap year calendar. And let's go look at, let's see. The perfect calendar. Let's look at 1900.
Did they even put leap years in the calendar?
Yeah. Okay.
No, it wasn't.
So 1900, it's actually the other way around. So 1900 was not a leap year. So let's go look at the year 2000.
It was a leap year.
It was a leap year. So February 29, 1900 was actually March 1st, 1900. So it would throw off the calendar by one day. That's the original Y2K problem. It wasn't that aliens were going to come down and invade Earth.
That'd be cool.
But it was kind of funny to actually see that. And so they made it, the news made it such a big deal, you know? And it was a bigger deal than it had to be. And so we had already come up with a lot of workarounds by the year 1997. Even if your program did not accept a 4-year digit, we had already programmed to where if it was anything less than the number 50, we would assume that it's the year 2000. If it was anything more than the number 50, we would assume it was the 1900. And so we had that already programmed in by 1997 in most programming languages. Cool.
All right. Last but not least, Zoom 2K Day. What is that? The day
2008?
after.
Owners of Microsoft Zoom devices began reporting that their device had malfunctioned and refused to boot up. So, look at this. It was a problem in the internal clock driver related to the way device handles a leap year. Oh my gosh. So in 2000, the problem wasn't Y2K, Jonathan. It was 2008. It was the way it handled the leap year. The problem would fix itself again January 1st. That is hilarious. And that's why Apple's iPod and iPhone. How do you let a bug like that go through?
That's funny.
It is.
Just killed all the Zooms, huh?
It just, every single Zoom died because of the way it handled the leap year. That is crazy. Playfully nicknamed Zoom 2K the day after Y2K Day.
Wow.
That's crazy.
What a great finish to the end of tech history.
That's why Zoom's no longer around. Stopped working after December 31st, 2008. All right. With that,
it ends our tech history for the whole year.
The whole year. We'll see you guys in season 2, where we're going to make it a lot better.
All right.
Until then.